Hi, thank you for clicking on this video. Before you get into it though, I just want to make a few comments. This video is in no way meant to glorify Colleen Hoover or to change anyone's mind. I'm just fascinated by the blow up that she has had in the last couple of years, and as I will explain, there are a lot of articles that I ended up reading that have different perspectives on why and how she became so popular. I did want to address something that I did see on Twitter, however, so hold on. I feel like I haven't said this in a while, but if I ever post a screenshot or anything that has a creator's name in it, please do not go bother them, attack them, quote tweet, whatever. So this tweet says, just a reminder, if you're picking up Colleen Hoover's new book, her son sexually harassed a 16-year-old, and when she reached out to Colleen for help, Colleen blocked her. Don't support Colleen Hoover and her toxic books. Now, some of the conversations that were linked are older, and so some parts of it are deleted, so I don't have it all. But the person throwing up over TBNE is the young person that said he sexually harassed them. So it says, her son also sexually harassed me, and she aired me and blocked me when I spoke up about it to her. Long story short, we were friends on Snap and shit, and like every day we would message because we're friends, right? And like this was when I was 16, and he was fully aware of how old I was because I always talked about it and the fact that I was still in school. And how I didn't want to block him because he was a good mate, but he still continued no matter what. I then tried messaging her, and she saw the message and left me on red, then shortly blocked me after. And then there are screenshots of the message that was sent to Colleen. So part of the message is a cutoff, but it starts with, I can prove our friendship via my Instagram DMs and the fact that I have him on Snapchat. But besides that, there isn't much I can do to prove to you that this happened, hence why I understand if you just ignore this. I'm sorry for having disturbed you, and I promise I'm not looking for anything or any sort of drama. I just know that typing this message out has helped me more than you can understand. I hope that you have a great rest of the weekend, and once again, I'm sorry for disturbing. Like I said, some of the tweets are deleted, so I couldn't find what it was that was being sent or said to the person who made this complaint about Colleen Hoover's son. And obviously it seems apparent that he was over 18 when this was happening. And so I don't say I don't have these things or these things are missing to try to downplay or not believe the victim. It's just that I feel when I am quote unquote reporting on something or sharing something, I try to always share all the information that I can find available. So, you know, people just don't think I'm out here making shit up, or I don't know, Colleen Hoover or her son come across this and try to sue me for something. So anyway, this is alleged that this happened to this person on Twitter. I am saying that because that's what you have to say on the internet. And so that is something to keep in mind in reference to if you want to read Colleen Hoover's books or not. I am not here to tell you to do that or to not do that. I simply was interested in this massive success that she's having, and I'm sharing those articles with you in this video. So I just wanted to share that information because I saw it after I made this video, and just make that clear before you watch. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I don't know how long I was talking and I was not recording, but I was basically saying every room in my house is chaotic, it's under construction, that's just what I'm calling it. Here we have a door, that's my closet door, and my walking pad, and I just like, there's no great place to film that has a great background, I'm sorry. Other rooms look a little bit less a mess, but then all of our windows currently have these like fake or these temporary blinds from Amazon on them because, well, I had someone come out to give us a quote for the shutters. No, and so blinds, everything's like not back ordered, but everything's just like weeks out. So I can't be in a house with window without covering. So anyway, they're just not easy to take off, and I don't want it. They're basically like you stick them, and I don't want the adhesive to whatever. So this is what you get. Walking pad, closet door, chic. I mean, I guess I could try to go like, but then you're getting closet door. Okay, we're just gonna get, how is this? I can't tell. I don't think so. I don't think these lights leave a, what do you call it? Have a glare in the glasses. I'm really happy with these lights. But what are we here to talk about? Oh, wait, hold on. Hey, hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. Let's talk about some mess. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna talk about Colleen Hoover. I don't know, I just got off of work. Jeez. Oh my God, 5 days of work. I know this is nothing in comparison to other people. Okay, I'm just being dramatic. I am not okay. But anyway, I'm very excited to be off for that fleeting weekend. Like, it was so nice for so long not worrying about what day it was, because it didn't matter unless I was going on a trip, you know, or something. Like, now it's back to Fridays matter. And we made it to Friday. Anyway, Colleen Hoover, Jess. Why do we care? Why are you making this video? Here's my thing, is that we all know that Colleen Hoover has been wildly, I guess they both work, successful before TikTok and especially after TikTok. However, I cannot count. I have my laptop over here with it up. I have seen at least 4 or 5 articles within like the span of a week about Colleen Hoover from different, what do you call them? Corporations? Places, news, things, and I'm like, good grief. And so I went to read them all, and I just thought I would share because I too am curious about why she is this successful. And there has been something that's already been said that makes sense about a part of it, but I think one of these articles really hit the nail on the head. And yeah, I don't know, she's a hot topic. Literally, staying on the New York Times bestseller list, popping, and then I saw another tweet. So I was like, I'm just gonna make a video. Okay, so let me get my laptop because I have all the things pulled up on there, which is really annoying. I wish it was on my phone, but oh well. First one we're gonna start with. This one, I was like, oh my God. You know who is more popular than Jesus? You know who is having a better year than God? Colleen. A fiction author has sold more books than the Bible. Now this is just talking about this year because I'm pretty sure the Bible is like top best-selling book of all time or something. I don't know why, it's a terrible book. But a new report from NPD Bookscan found that romance fiction author Colleen Hoover has sold more copies of her book than copies of the Bible this year. So as of August 27th, Colleen Hoover sold 7.3 million print copies compared to only 5 million of the Bible. Sorry, Jesus. I love that all these articles call her the Queen of Book Talk. Currently holds 4 of the top 10 spots on the New York Times best-selling list. So that is, just think about this, 7.3 million print copies. That does not include audiobooks or ebooks, which a lot of people read that way. That is mind-blowing, and that's just bought. Think about which ones were borrowed from the library or Kindle Unlimited. That's wild. But although I would love it to be a lot of other people besides Colleen, I'm glad that somebody knocked that book out of its reigning spot because it's terrible. It's been edited a lot. It's missing chapters. Let's see. I love that it says this report comes just a few weeks after a Gallup study found that only 20% of Americans say the Bible is the actual word of God and is to be taken literally word for word. A large number of respondents said they believe the Bible is the inspired word of God, but not everything in it should be taken literally, like a lot of it. So I was just like, that was a very eye-grabbing headline for sure. But, so these other articles I saw, the New York Times, Guardian, Washington Street Journal, nope, Washington, is it Washington? What's it called? Who is this? WSJ, Wall Street Journal, I think. Also this one from Slate, so like literally everybody is writing articles about Miss Colleen. So this first one in the New York Times, it's very interesting the perspective these writers took because the first one in the New York Times is definitely more, it's different. I'm not gonna read the whole thing to you. I will link all of these down below, of course. But the New York Times one is How Colleen Hoover Rose to Rule the Bestseller List. I also learned from all these articles that apparently her fans are called the cohort. Now, I knew people would shorten her name to CoHo. I have been familiar with her since I joined the Bookternet, but I had never known that her fans are called the cohort. I mean, it works, but I didn't know that. So this one says that she's also sold more books this year than Dr. Seuss and James Patterson. Oh my God. See, this is why he's not okay. He is right. The white men are in danger, and John Grisham combined. That's fucking wild, because every time I've gone to a goddamn bookstore, I swear there's at least 10 shelves of just James Patterson books. But anyway, check on him and make sure he's okay. I'm just kidding. I don't care how the man is doing. So, to say she's the currently best-selling novelist in the United States, to even compare her to other successful authors who have landed several books on the bestseller list, fails to capture the size and loyalty of her artist. So again, she is always fluctuating between having 4 to 6 books in the top 10 New York Times bestseller list. So she started, this talks about when she started back in 2012. She self-published a book, Slammed, when she was working as a social worker, which I didn't know. And I have read myself a few Colleen Hoover books. I've 3 or 4. I never read Slammed. I read Verity. It Ends With Us, All Your Perfects, and something else that I was not really memorable. But anyway, so she was giving out free copies of the book, and then I forgot, it tells a story. You don't really need to know her story, but anyway, she started out self-published, and she still kind of has a mix of like self-publishing, different imprints are printing her books, so she's got a range. Anywho, this says she's defying the laws of how the market works. And they're saying that normally that she is not in any, like she is not just, I'm only writing this genre. Even though, I mean, I haven't read all of her books. I know Verity's like a thriller, domestic thriller maybe. And then it depends on who you ask if her books are actually romances or just women's fiction. But it's saying that though her books are hard to categorize, most of them have an addictive combination of sex, drama, and outrageous plot twists. I kept being told that authors need to brand themselves as one thing, and I was like, well, why can't I brand myself as everything? Why can't I brand myself as Colleen Hoover? So it talks about her going to like conventions and stuff, that she's very popular herself with her own TikTok account. I don't know, I don't follow her. And it talks about her fans on TikTok and how they have pushed books to the top of the bestseller list, because you know, during the pandemic, book talk really blew up. People crying and like losing their shit over her books on TikTok.
I want Colleen Hoover to punch me in the face. That would hurt less than these books. Her fans, who are mostly women, call themselves cohorts and post gushing reactions to her book's devastating climaxes. A CoHo fan who made the following plea on TikTok is typical. I want Colleen Hoover to punch me in the face. That would hurt less than these books. Whew! I need this person to seek Jesus.
So there are quotes in here by Colleen Hoover that I find funny. It said, I read other people's books and I'm so envious. I'm thinking, oh my God, these are so much better. Why are mine selling the way they are? It's not me. The readers are controlling what is selling. And as some people have shared on like Twitter and other social media, that her father was abusive to her mother. And I know in It Ends With Us, I think the author's note talks about that. I don't know if she like dedicated this book or whatever, but people are like, oh, this is why you shouldn't read her books, because like you really basically took your life experience of domestic or witnessing domestic abuse and put it in a book. And I'm not gonna comment, you know, I don't know. So anyway, she has a lot going on. It says she's written over 20 books. She has young adult, romance, to erotica, to thriller. But again, back to the pandemic kicking up sales. And I guess she also made some of her ebooks free during the pandemic. And it says that she also sometimes reach out to E.L. James, who's the author of the 50 Shades of Grey, which obviously had its explosion back in like, what, 2011, 2012? 10, I don't know, and asking her like how to deal with this blockbuster success, which I thought that was funny. But that one was just overwhelmingly positive about Colleen Hoover. But then if you go to the Guardian one titled Never Seen Anything Like It, How Colleen Hoover Normcore Thrillers Made Her America's Best Author, This one has a little bit more scathing tone to it. It says, Colleen Hoover's book titles might lack the recognizability factor enjoyed by the Harrys and Twilights of the world, but there's no escaping the reigning queen of book talk. CoHo, as the author is called by her legions of fans, is everywhere, in the hands of your fellow subway rider, on the tablet that the receptionist at your dentist office is hiding behind the front desk. When I mentioned to a bookish colleague I was going to be writing about the woman who has become America's best-selling novelist, her blank expression slowly came to life. She consulted her Kindle app and confirmed that she'd inhaled one of Hoover's books over the summer. It wasn't so bad, she said. That's how I feel about some of them. She read Verity. So it is talking about all the numbers and everything, and then of course talking about It Starts With Us, which recently came out, I believe, which is, I don't know if we would call it a sequel, but I know it is connected to It Ends With Us, but it's supposed to be a happier story of like the hero and the heroine of this relationship. Why is the FedEx truck backing up into my driveway? They better be delivering my trash can. How did I go? I went and signed up. So water, sewer, and trash are connected here. And I went to sign up because they made me come in person. What the hell? And they were like, yeah, the trash service, they're out of trash cans. Now I want to see what they're doing. Oh, I don't want them to see me. Oh, that ain't no trash can. That looks like a big package. I don't know what that would be. I'm mad I didn't get my trash can. Anyway. They had someone from a bookstore in Charleston. It says, the longevity is what stands out the most. We have books that fly off the shelves when they come out. Crying in H Mart, the summer I turned pretty, but will generally last a week or a month and sales peter out. The Colleen Hoover books keep selling, which is like literally, I mean, since 2020, we're at the end of 2022 and they're still flying off the shelves. It is wild. This person, Courtney, who's 36 and lives in Ohio, read Verity, which she considered her gateway Hoover book last year, and has blown through half a dozen since. I used to read highbrow literature. An English professor who once considered William Shakespeare her favorite author. Colleen Hoover has a way of making you relate to the characters, and her language choices tug at my heartstrings. She makes me feel so much. So she went from Shakespeare to Colleen. That is quite the transition. So this is where I was like, oh, you are not just praising Colleen Hoover. It said, like many of today's best-selling authors, Hoover doesn't overly concern herself with character development. The people who populate her books can generally be slotted into two categories, likable heroes or monsters. In lieu of personality traits, they carry past traumas or past transgressions. And for all the plot twists and gut-punching climaxes that Hoover's fans rave about, internal transformations are light on the ground. Let's see. Hoover delivers tales packed with devastating backstories and few of the challenges so common to literature. The elaborate subplots, the webs of contradictions, the sentencing so dazzling that they beg for a reread. Here's a trauma story retrofitted for the Hallmark Channel. Dark as Hoover's fantasies may be, the books themselves are normcore to the bone, which I have never heard of, but so using physical descriptions and sticking to references that most readers will have heard of, Hoover has created scenes that readers can project themselves onto. Messed up situations that serve as funhouse mirrors of her fans' own pains and problems. As the critic Laura Miller put in her Slate essay on the author's popularity, a leading quirk and verve is the secret of her success. The blandness of Hoover's characters makes them easy for anyone to identify with, and the smooth, featureless quality of her prose makes her novels easy to breeze through in a day or two. And I was like, that's it! Like, I already had heard, from numerous people and experienced it myself, that her books are just very simple. They're easy to breeze through, but I didn't realize that it was like keeping the characters very simple so that anyone can really just see themselves in that person, because there's just like some very simple characteristics so that so many people can relate. I understand a little bit more why they're so popular. Then into the Slate article, which has some similarities to the previous one that I read, but this one was talking about some of the people who criticized Colleen's work, said that this has led to some book talk critics shrugging off Hoover's fiction as trauma porn, a complaint that is not entirely unfounded. While none of Hoover's novels approaches the litany of torments depicted in, say, Hanya Yanagihara's A Little Life, they do partake of the current vogue for defining personality through suffering and emotional damage. There's something adolescent about the belief that trauma automatically makes a person interesting or deep. Hoover's characterization needs all the help it can get to make her heroes and heroines seem more than generic. Often the only distinguishing traits they possess are their traumas, past abuse, burn scars, the death of the child or children, conviction for manslaughter, and the accidental death of a former lover, a loveless childhood, and so on. They are built of cliches, which is not necessarily a drawback in romance fiction, where the deployment of familiar devices feels comforting. This also appeals to why people who view themselves as non-readers because they lack the patience for or interest in their literary prose. For such readers, C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Cliché makes reading effortless because it is immediately recognizable. My blood ran cold is a hieroglyph of fear. Any attempt, such as a great writer might make, to render this fear concrete in its full particularity is doubly a choke peer to the unliterary reader. For it offers him what he doesn't want, and offers it only on the condition of his giving to the words a kind and degree of attention which he does not intend to give. It is like trying to sell him something he has no use for at a price he does not wish to pay." So I thought that was interesting. So it's saying Hoover doesn't waste words conjuring up a sense of place or atmosphere. It was saying like she can set her novels in any cities, and then that's just kind of it. You're not building up the world. You're not like giving it a sense of place. It is focused on these traumas and experiences that the people have gone through, and then now whatever their current conflict is. Like that's her main thing that she's focusing on. Character development, no. World, obviously it doesn't really need world building because it's not speculative, but still. Not really giving a setting, it's not filling it out. It's kind of just like a very fuzzy, faint backdrop. Hoover supplies angsty love stories, extensive sex scenes, catchy premises, and outrageous plot twists. Plenty of popular fiction relies on these proven winners, but it's less common to see them all deployed at once. But I just thought that these were hilarious, and that one thing finally hit the nail on the head for me, what I was missing on why her books are so popular. The blandness and how many people can relate to it. So I just think that's interesting. And it's still like, I understand why they're popular, but it's still, I don't get it. I don't know why it was her. It's not like there's no other bland writers out there, but they chose Colleen Hoover, and I am sure she is not mad at that money. Now, on discussions about whether you should or should not read Colleen Hoover, I mean, you can read whatever you want, obviously, but you know, there's people who are like, you shouldn't read Colleen Hoover because her books are really toxic and portray, you know, unhealthy relationships and glamorize them. And like I said, I've only read a few, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember them super well, because what people say about It Ends With Us, I'm like, oh my God, did I read that book? I read it in like 2019. Because I don't know, I didn't feel like it was glamorizing abuse at the time, but also, I don't know. So I would love to know, do you read Colleen Hoover books? Do you enjoy them? Like, you know, it doesn't, every time you read something, it doesn't have to be Shakespeare. It doesn't have to be what people would consider true literature. You could just read, what is that? Oh, is that a gnat? Oh, not in my home, get out. Oh my God. Anyway, if you read CoHo books, let me know. Are you in the cohort? If you like them, and then if you didn't, like, what do you think? Do you think there's anything else behind her secret to blowing up on Book Talk? Do you think that people are over exaggerating the harm of her books? Like, let me know. I would love to see this for someone else, but you know, you can't help who gets rich, right? Or I would be rich, but whatever. We should tax them all. That is all from me today. I think I'm gonna go play The Sims and eat snacks with, I said with Nigel. Well, if I eat an apple, I can share with Nigel. Okay, so thanks for watching. Give this a thumbs up, subscribe if you would like to. Ways to find me on the internet, ways to support my channel are linked in the description if you wanna join my Patreon. Also, these articles that I reference will be linked down there. But stay blessed, hydrated, moisturized, and sunscreened, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.